I will happily participate in releasing any further leaks that they have because the truth should be out there. What does she have to fear if she's telling the truth? I know this gets overused now, but she did FAFO. Like, she thought she could blame all of her negative press on him. He's a weakling. She's Blake Lively with Ryan Reynolds, her dragon. And she decided, I can't take 1 month worth of negative press, which she got, generated, she says, by him. He says by you and your badness. And she's so thin-skinned, look what happens to you. Look what happened to poor Jay Cal even on this show. People get picked on when they're in the public eye, right? Like, just Google Megyn Kelly. You'll see terrible articles about me. It's part of being in the public eye. She's just used to being Hollywood's golden girl. And she had such thin skin that after having a couple negative things happen to her for a month, she had to blame him. She decided to blame him. And boy, did she open up a hornet's nest and learn.
Tonight, a major court victory for actress Blake Lively. A federal judge today throwing out actor Justin Baldoni's $400 million defamation suit against her after she accused him of sexual harassment. Here's Aaron Katursky.
Danny, it's a really complicated legal back and forth. I tried to summarize it there. Walk us through this ruling. Why is Baldoni's countersuit being thrown out?
Let me tell you how rare, first, that a case gets thrown out at this stage. The law requires the judge to assume everything in Baldoni's complaint is factually true. And even still, based on that, Baldoni still doesn't prevail. And I'll give you an example. So the judge says that as to the defamation claims, the primary claims were that Lively said something in her civil rights complaint, which she filed with an agency in California. However, everything you say in those complaints is privileged. Just like anytime I file a lawsuit, nothing I say in that lawsuit can be defamation because it's protected when you file it as a lawsuit. In a way, it wouldn't be if you tweeted it, for example. So
Judge Louis Lyman also leaving a door open for Baldoni's team to refile some of their claims.
Justin Baldoni was given until June 23rd to refile some of his claims. Not all of them can be brought, but there are some contractual claims that he can try to refile. But whatever the lawsuit ends up being, it will be much, much narrower than the original claim.
Huge news, and they said, we have said from day one this $400 million lawsuit was a sham, and the court saw right through it. We look forward to the next round. Ryan Reynolds has not said anything, but he did post this photo after this news made the rounds, just smiling in New York. And this photo was taken by Blake Lively. We also saw Blake Lively on the red carpet at the 18th annual Tribeca Festival Artists event. So, I mean, they're continuing on with what's happening. Yeah. And I think a big question a lot of people have is, how did this even happen? And a big part of this is that there's a law in California, and this came up during the Me Too movement, that if you accuse someone of sexual harassment, you are essentially protected from anyone making a defamation lawsuit against you. And this popped up during the Me Too movement. Mm-hmm. So they invoked that. Her lawyers invoked that during this time, which was the big indicator of what has happened.
And this was really interesting. So sometimes a party will have an opportunity to amend a complaint, fix it in a way, and you can refile it. Here's what the court said. Quote, the court will not grant leave to amend the majority of the Wayfair party's claims because amendment would be futile. The dismissal of the claims does not rest on technical pleading defects, and the Wayfair parties have not made a showing that the complaint's defects can be cured. However, the court did say it will grant leave to amend the claims for tortious interference with contract and breach of implied contract. Wayfair parties failed to plead the specific details of any contract between Baldoni and WME.
Very unusual for just an actress in the film, even if she's the lead, and that she's now tried to turn this whole thing into a PR victory for her to get past what appears to be the fact that she is an egotistical.
Ella Brew, where we spill the tea on the hottest celebrity dramas and dissect every jaw-dropping twist. Today's saga, a bombshell courtroom shakeup, Justin Baldoni's massive $400 million lawsuit against Blake Lively, Ryan Reynolds, Leslie Sloan, and the New York Times just hit a major roadblock. The judge didn't just push back, he dismissed the core defamation claims outright. But that's not the end of the story. Stick around as we break down every explosive detail, explain what still hangs in the balance, and reveal why June 23rd is the date everyone's watching. If you've been following this blockbuster legal battle, or if you just love watching Hollywood royalty clash in court, Smash that like button, subscribe to Celebrew, and ring the bell so you don't miss a second of our coverage. Let's dive. What just happened? In one swift ruling, Judge Lewis wiped out the heart of Baldon's case, the defamation claims. Here's the breakdown. $400 million wiped out, the most explosive piece. Baldon's allegation that Blake, Ryan, Sloan, and the Times conspired to paint him as a predator didn't pass muster. Judicial rationale. The court found insufficient evidence of malicious falsehood. In short, Baldon didn't prove that Blake's team knowingly spread lies. Courtroom reaction. Lawyers for Blake called it a total victory. Baldon's camp left the bench reeling and scrambling for Plan B. But don't pack up your popcorn just yet. 2 more claims are still alive, and June 23rd looms as the critical deadline. How did we get here, and what exactly remains? That's where things really heat up. While the defamation counts fell, Baldoni's lawsuit isn't dead in the water. 2 contract-based claims survived: breach of implied covenant, good faith and fair dealing, tortious interference with contract. What do these mean in plain English? Simply put, Baldoni alleges Blake and her circle sabotaged their partnership, even if they didn't break any specific clause. The judge didn't toss these outright. He's giving Baldoni until June 23rd to sharpen the arguments. After that, it's back to court for round 2. Implied what? Every contract carries an unspoken promise: act in good faith. Here's how Baldoni frames it. The heart of the claim, Baldoni insists that by going public with private texts and emails through the New York Times, Blake violated the spirit of their exclusive collaboration. The example: imagine you co-write a film. You agree not to air each other's dirty laundry, but one side leaks embarrassing messages to damage the other's reputation. Baldoni says that's bad faith. Judge's feedback: right now, the complaint lacks detail on exactly which texts, when, and how they breached good faith. Baldoni must outline the timeline, the specific messages, and the direct harm to his career. If Baldoni can attach dates, quotes, and cause and effect, this claim could survive. Otherwise, it risks joining the defamation count in the dustbin. More legal jargon, but high stakes. Tortious interference means convincing someone else to break a contract with you. Baldoni's angle. The theory: Blake, Ryan, Sloan, and even the New York Times coerced Baldoni's corporate partners to back out of lucrative deals. Real-world analogy. Picture you have a sponsorship lined up. A rival calls your sponsor, muddies the water with unverified rumors, and your sponsor reels in their offer. That's interference. Judge's take: Baldoni needs to show which companies walked away, what they were promised, and how defendants' actions directly caused the cancellations. On June 23rd, Baldoni must file a supplemental declaration mapping out the blocked deals, naming names, and tying each lost contract to a direct act of interference. Why dismiss defamation but keep contract claims? The judge walked through a meticulous analysis. Defamation requires malice. You must prove a false statement was made knowingly or with reckless disregard for truth. Baldoni's allegations hinged on an inside job with the New York Times, but the court ruled the Times merely reported Blake's side. Protected advocacy. By framing her public statements within a civil rights context, Blake gained extra First Amendment cover. Reporting closely tracked her narrative was deemed protected speech. Contract claims are procedural, not speech-based. Breach and interference don't hinge on falsehood. They hinge on contractual obligations and business harm. Hence, those counts stayed alive. This split ruling underscores a key lesson. High-profile gossip can be messy, but contract law looks at promises and business relationships, not opinions. While the Blake-Baldoni feud hogged headlines, 2 other names were dragged into the fray. Ryan Reynolds, accused of labeling Baldoni a predator. The judge found Reynolds was merely expressing belief based on Blake's allegations. Non-actionable. Opinion. Leslie Sloan, the publicist whose name popped up in every draft of Baldoni's suit. The court said Baldoni offered no proof Sloan knowingly propagated false claims. Both Reynolds and Sloan dodged a bullet. Their statements are shielded. Unless Baldoni can show they knew the rumors were false and spread them maliciously, which, so far, he hasn't. In a twist worthy of a legal thriller, one of Baldoni's key witnesses retracted a crucial statement. James's declaration: a journalist Baldoni claimed overheard Sloan admitting Blake was harassed by Baldoni. He recanted, saying he never heard Sloan make that remark. Impact on Sloan. This retraction undercuts Baldoni's defamation claim and bolsters Sloan's defense on the contract counts. It's a dramatic example of how a single witness flip-flop can sway a judge's view of credibility. Expect Blair Witch-style flashbacks to this moment if the contract claims survive. Every storyline needs its plot twists. Meanwhile, Blake's team isn't sitting idle. They made a strategic retreat on one front: infliction of emotional distress, IED. Blake initially sued Baldoni for shining a harsh light on her personal life. Last week, she withdrew those claims without prejudice. Why without prejudice? It means she can refile them later. It's a pressure tactic. Baldoni's side wants Blake to drop them with prejudice permanently, but she refuses, keeping her leverage. Underlying message: Blake's lawyers signal confidence. They're saying, we can win these claims outright, so we'll hold them in reserve until Baldoni expends more resources on his countersuit. This gambit shows how each side is playing a high-stakes chess game. And emotional distress is one of the endgames. Not to be outmaneuvered, Baldoni fired back with his own motion. Goal: dismiss Blake's countersuit entirely, claiming her allegations lack legal merit just as his defamation claim did. Next steps: Judge Lewis must decide whether Blake's remaining accusations, now trimmed and targeted, can survive Baldoni's attack. Potential fallout: if Baldoni succeeds here, both sides could be left with only contract-based disputes, turning this megabucks battle into a narrower fight over business terms and damages. The tension is mounting. Will the judge apply the same free speech analysis to Blake's claims, or find that Baldoni's countersuit crosses the line? With the defamation count gone and 2 contract claims teetering on the brink, all eyes turn to June 23rd, the deadline for Baldoni's amended filing. Here's what to watch. Baldoni's supplemental complaint. Will it include detailed evidence of breached good faith and interference? Or will it fall short again? Judges ruling on Blake's countersuit. If Lewis dismisses her remaining claims, both plaintiffs walk away empty-handed, potentially leading to fee-shifting motions. Public sentiment: social media has roared in support of Blake. Tiana's Team Blake is trending on X, while Baldoni's backers criticize the judge as activist and biased. Expect the online debate to escalate. Settlement whispers: behind closed doors, both sides may seek a truce. With legal fees soaring, a handshake deal could be on the horizon if egos can be set aside. No matter how June 23rd lands, this lawsuit has already reshaped the conversation around celebrity defamation, contract law, and the power of protected speech. That's the real legacy of this blockbuster courtroom drama. That wraps our deep dive on Justin Baldoni versus Blake Lively and friends. From the headline-grabbing dismissal of a $400 million defamation suit to the ticking clock on contract claims, this legal saga has more twists than a binge-worthy series. What do you think will happen on June 23rd? Will Baldoni make his contract count stick, or will this case fizzle out in arbitration tables? Drop your predictions in the comments, smash that subscribe button if you haven't already, and stay tuned to Celebrew for every update on this and every other celebrity showdown. Thanks for watching, stay curious, and I'll see you in the next video.